We've got a chasing alert for you tonight. The trial of Senator Bob Menendez, standing trial for corruption and bribery. It's over. At least this one is over. For now, the jury, they're hung. They could not come to a verdict as far as the senator's guilt or innocence. 2 jurors holding out saying they thought he was guilty, 10 saying not. That's it. They handed a note to the judge today and they've been dismissed. Now, the big question is, what's going to happen next? Will there be another trial, or is this just going to go away? With all the details, Diana Blass has the story from the courthouse in Newark.
Senator Bob Menendez walked out of court on Thursday a free man, but not before hugging his family and defense team. The judge declaring a mistrial in the corruption case against the Democrat senator 11 weeks after the case began and after 8 days of jury deliberations. Menendez broke down in tears as he thanked those who stood beside him.
I want to thank my sister Caridad and her husband Pete. Their presence in the Bible passages my sister would send me every morning were an incredible strength to me.
Menendez was accused of accepting donations and gifts from a Florida eye doctor, Solomon Malgan. We've heard for days now that this jury had been deadlocked, and then again they confirmed it. Just after 11:30 a.m., they sent a note to the judge saying that they were unwilling to move away from their convictions after reviewing all evidence. The judge then interviewed the jurors one-on-one and then came back to us about an hour later telling us that it was clear this wouldn't come to an agreement. This after prosecutors urged for a partial verdict.
We were deadlocked right out of the gate. So, you know, when you're deadlocked right out of the gate, and I can't force somebody else's opinion. I can't force somebody to think a certain way, or you can't get mad over it. You got to just respect the person and respect their opinion.
This mistrial is definitely a blow for the Justice Department, but it also now will be a cloud over Menendez as he seeks re-election. Menendez's advisor told Politico that we could expect in an email over the next few weeks whether Menendez will seek re-election. I'm Diana Blass reporting for Chasing News.
Thanks, Diana. All right, I want to turn to our own Ashley Johnson, who has a bit of a sidebar on this. There was a lot of public reaction, including an endorsement of Senator Bob Menendez's re-election race, even though he hasn't announced it yet, from Governor-elect Phil Murphy. Ashley, what do you got for us?
U.S. Senator Bob Menendez was like we've never seen before. At a news conference after the judge in his federal corruption trial declared a mistrial, Menendez cried, laughed, and chastised his enemies.
To those who were digging my political grave so that they could jump into my seat, I know who you are, and I won't forget you.
And wished his friend Dr. Solomon Malgan the best. Menendez was accused of doing business favors for the wealthy ophthalmologist in exchange for more than $600,000 in political contributions and lavish trips.
And I wish my dear friend Sal success in his continuing search for justice.
Soon after the judge's decision, New Jersey Governor-elect Bill Murphy expressed strong support for Menendez. Senator Menendez is a strong voice for New Jersey, and I look forward to working with him to stand up for our people against President Trump's disastrous tax hike and further efforts to kill the Affordable Care Act. Should he decide to seek re-election, he will have my full support. Senate Majority Leader Republican Mitch McConnell said the Senate Ethics Committee should investigate Menendez. In a statement, he said, "Because of the seriousness of these charges, I am calling on the Senate Ethics Committee to immediately investigate Senator Menendez's actions, which led to his indictment." I'm Ashley Johnson, reporting for Chasing News.
Thank you, Ashley. All right, let's bring in a guy that knows this from both sides of the courthouse, both as a former county prosecutor and a defense attorney. Want to bring in our friend Bob Bianchi. Bob, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, Bill. I'm chasing the news here, chasing Bob here for you.
Here's the question for you from a legal perspective. Can he be retried, and do you think he will be retried?
He can be retried. There's no question about that. Whether he will be retried is a prosecutorial discretion decision. Bill, you know all along with this case, I was very concerned with the evidence or lack of evidence. It was not a direct evidence case. It was circumstantial evidence. And I was surprised and said from the beginning, I can't imagine anything other than a hung jury or a not guilty in this case.
Does it mean that one juror didn't buy it, or all of them, or was it 6-6? I mean, what does that actually mean, and does that ever become public?
A hung jury could be any one juror or more could say that we have no unanimous decision. Very hard for the prosecutor to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. 12 jurors have to be convinced one way or the other. So we never really know the numbers. But in this case, Bill, the unique thing that I have never seen in 28 years, from what I understand from the reporting, is the judge actually brought the jurors in with the attorneys present. Never have seen anything like this. So they probably have a very good feel of where the jury was here.
All right, thanks, Bob. Let's bring in our A-plus panel to break this down. We got a bunch of lawyers and political strategists here. Matt Rooney is back with us. Good to see you, Matt. Jeanette Hoffman and Bill Caruso. All right, guys, Bill, I'm going to start with you. As a Democrat, is this good or bad, politically speaking? Forget if, Bob is right and they don't try him again. Yeah. Politically speaking, the guy is clearly digging in and running again, and the governor-elect just endorsed him. Good or bad for Democrats?
If Bob Menendez is able to achieve sort of victim status here, I think you could see this change. If he isn't, he's upside down in the polls right now. We haven't seen a fresh poll from this yet, so I think it's too soon to tell. It's very murky water.
Does he really become a victim, a guy that wrote a check for $60,000 to cover his private jet expenses?
I don't know in what world you can view Bob Menendez as a victim, but he is acting like a phoenix rising from the ashes, like he was completely acquitted of all charges, which is not really what happened. There was a hung jury. It resulted in a mistrial. He still may be tried again.
At least two of the jurors thought he was guilty.
Correct. And the Democratic Party is acting like he was acquitted, and, Phil Murphy's endorsing him. Senate President Steve Sweeney's endorsing him.
Out there behind him.
It's like, so they're with him right now until they're not. So we'll see.
Matt, does this just send a message to voters who are already not participating? We had some of the lowest voter turnout in history with this last gubernatorial election in New Jersey. Is this the message like, yeah, that's politics. You're a friend of mine and it doesn't matter?
Well, that's why we have low voter turnout. Politicians like Bob Menendez. People think that whether or not you vote for somebody against somebody, or even if they get indicted, it never matters. Someone like Bob Menendez, who constantly flouts our ethical canons, continues to get away with it. That's why before this mistrial, a majority in a recent Emerson poll of New Jersey voters said that they don't think that he should seek re-election. I think the Democrat Party should listen.